Good morning. I'm Kiran Raj. Welcome to the online classes on LAMP technology. Software. There are many types of softwares are present. First one is free software. Second one is open source software. Third one is proprietary software or commercial software. Fourth one is freeware software. Fifth one is free and open source software. First, let us see about free software. The free software term is coined by Richard Stallman when he was involved in the GNU project. The free software term can be very confusing because free means two things. Free in case of money or price or cost, and free in case of freedom. So here free software means freedom. You can also use the term called as gratis and liberty, where liberty is referring to the freedom and gratis means free in money. But those two terms are rarely used. When we can say that software is free software. For the software to be free software, it should be having four properties, that is freedom 0, freedom 1, freedom 2 and freedom 3. Freedom 0 says that to run the program for any purpose, you can run that software or you can use that program for any purpose. Freedom 1, to study how the program works and to adapt it to your needs. That is, you should be able to assess the program or to assess the software, then you should be able to make changes. You should be able to make changes as per your needs. Since you have to make some changes and you have to study the codes present there, you should be able to have the access to the source code. Freedom 1 requires the access to the source code. Freedom 2 says that you should have the freedom to redistribute the copies. That means, for example, if I am having the software copy, I should be able to give that to my friend or my neighbor. Freedom 3, I should be able to improve or modify the program and distribute it to others. Again, freedom 3, since I am modifying the program or I am trying to improve it, I need the support of the source code. So freedom 1 and freedom 3 needs the support of source code. Okay. When all freedoms are provided or when all freedoms are present in the software, then only we can say that it is a free software. If any one property is missing, then we cannot say that it is a free software. Next one is open source software. While coming to the open source software, along with the license, source code of the software is provided. So since the source code of the software is provided, you will be able to inspect, modify or enhance the software. And here please note that all the open source software need not be the free software, but all free softwares are open source software. Okay. Freeware software, while coming to the freeware software, as the name indicates, they are free in terms of money. Commercial and proprietary software, you have to pay for them. You have to pay for the usage of the software. FOSS, that is free and open source software. Free and open source software, it is combines both properties of free software and the open source software. And free and open source software, that is first one, that is this one, free software and open source software need not be free in terms of money. In certain cases, for certain free software or the open source software, you have to pay the money. So you have to pay the money there for the free and open source, but freeware you need not pay the money. Next, let us come to the LAMP. What is LAMP? LAMP is an open source web development platform. So while coming to the LAMP, LAMP is present in the stack format. So first one is L, that represents Linux, and Linux is used as an operating system here. So since it is an operating system, Linux comes at the bottom of the stack. Most of the flavors that is used in Linux will be Ubuntu, CentOS or Debian. Okay. Linux is free software and Linux is also an open source software. Okay. Next one is on the top of the Linux, we are going to have the Apache. Apache is used as a web server. Again, this is again open source and the free software. So it is going to have the modular design. So it is going to have the many plugins are present here. So since it is having the many plugins, you can extend them very easily. You can extend the software or you can extend the application very easily. Next one is MySQL. MySQL is used as the relational database management system, that is RDBMS, to store the data. Last one is PHP. The P stands for PHP, Perl or Python. They are used as the object oriented script language. You need not use all the three, or you need not use PHP and Perl. You can use any one of them. So you have the Linux, then the Apache, then the MySQL, then the PHP or Perl or the Python. That depends on the user. Free and lightweight alternative to Visa. Web application development. So it is formed of Windows, IIS, SQL Server and ASP. Nowadays ASP.NET is used. II short form of Internet Information Services. So here, instead of Linux, you can use other operating systems also along with Apache, MySQL, PHP, Perl and Python. So if you are going to use Windows operating system instead of Linux, then it is called as WAM. If you are going to use Macintosh system, then it is called as MAM. If you are going to use Solaris system instead of Linux system, then it is called as SAM. Now, before going to the LAMP framework, let us see some of the benefits of the LAMP. As I already mentioned, LAMP is an free software and open source software. So you can extend the application as per your requirement. Benefit is deployment and development. The next one is it is providing flexibility. The third benefit is customization, security. Then you have the support community is there. Then economically it is better one because it is free. Free software and open source software. Now let us come for the commercial applications of the internet or in the internet. Most of the commercial web applications on internet is developed by keeping in the mind that all the user or the multiple users are connected to the same Ethernet backbone. Why we are considering that? Because so that the development becomes very easy. Why? Because when you are having the Ethernet backbone, that means every user has his own resources. Every user has his own resources. That is the advantage of having the Ethernet backbone. Now, how it is built? Commercial application is built on 2-tier or the 3-tier client server architecture. So what is client server architecture? Client is going to request certain services or certain information from the server, and this, what is the server is going to do? Server is going to process that request, and then he is going to reply with the answer. For example, let us consider hotel, where customer is the client. He is going to order some dishes, and waiter or server is the server. So what the waiter is going to do? He is going to collect the request from the client, that is from the customer. Then he is going to kitchen, and their chefs will be there, and chefs and the waiter is going to serve the dish or provide the dish to the customer. So client is going to make the request, server is going to provide the service. So commercial application can be crafted in two methods. One is homogeneous, using the homogeneous tools, and another one is heterogeneous tool. What do you mean by that? Homogeneous, that means the server side, client side application and the server side applications, they are going to be the same thing, or they are made up of the same platform. For example, I am going to have the Oracle database here, and I am going to have the Oracle 9i in the server. So they belongs to the same group, Oracle, right? Heterogeneous means I am going to have the database in one thing and the server in the another thing, or providing the service is from the different thing or different tool. Now client server. Client is making the request, and server is going to process those requests, and he is going to respond with the answer. And now as soon as the answer comes to the client, or as soon as he gets the facility service, he is going to read those results. Two-tier architecture. While coming to the two-tier architecture, you are only going to have one server, and application server and the database server, they are combined together. So these are the clients, they are going to request for data or any information, and it is going to give and collect it from them. While coming to the three-tier architecture, you are going to have separate application server and the separate database server. So he is going to process them, and he is going to provide the processed query to the database. Then he is going to collect the data, and then he is going to reply. As I already mentioned, we are assuming that multiple users are connected using the Ethernet backbone. So you can use any topology, either you can use bus topology or you can use the star topology. And cables, you can use cabled fiber optics, or you can use wireless, whether it can be infrared, with hub or without hub. Now let us see how the architecture is implemented on the internet. Whether the Ethernet backbone is possible? No. But why we are considering that Ethernet backbone is used? Because architecture becomes very simple. Becomes very simple, so developing the application also will be very simple. When you are using Ethernet backbone, what is the meaning of that? That means the server and the users, that is clients and the server, they are always connected. For example, see this diagram. Here we have the server, two servers are present, application server and database server, and we are considering they are in the Ethernet backbone, whether it can be your bus topology or star topology. But if you see here carefully, client and server, they are always connected. But whether that is possible, that is not possible in the internet. Why? Because we cannot have the Ethernet connection. So what is done here, when the client and server architecture is implemented in the internet, it goes huge changes. Okay. First one, here we are going to use TCP IP will be used for the connection. So what is the main thing about TCP IP? While coming to the TCP IP, it is always after the service is provided, the connection will be broken. So application run on the client server or client side is web browser, and application that runs on the server side is web server. For the communication between the web server and the web browser, that is client and the server, we should establish the communication. The communication is established using the HTTP. What is HTTP? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So while coming to the web browser and web server, they are connecting, as I already mentioned, they will be using TCP IP, and they are communicating using the request response paradigm. In the request response paradigm, what is going to happen here is the client is going to communicate with the, or he is going to send the query to the server. As soon as the server gets the query, server is going to process the query and he is going to reply it to the client. As soon as the reply is given, the connection is broken. The connection between the server and the browser is broken. So we are calling it as request response paradigm. So let us see how it is done. The web browser, that is client, will broadcast the port 80 signals along with the IP address, of the server to whom it wants to communicate. Now, when it is broadcasted, the packet with port 80 signal with the IP address, it reaches to every server. But the server with the matching IP, will only give the reply to the web browser. As soon as the web browser gets the connection, the termination is done by the server, and server will completely forget about the browser. Okay. Why it is done? Because to prevent the congestion in the network bandwidth, we are going to do that. Or else what is going to happen? If everyone is keep on connected to the server, congestion will be happening. When the congestion takes place, the speed at which you get the service will be reduced. The performance will be reduced. Next, locking in on the changes. Commercial applications run on the web browsers. Web browsers are made up of using the language HTML. What is HTML? Hypertext Markup Language. Since web browser is made up of HTML, the commercial application should be also created in the HTML only. If it is not created in the HTML or the HTML supporting languages, what will happen? They will not successfully run on the web browser. We are going to use the reply and response paradigm, right? But we have to have certain time session should be there. If the session is not there, then we cannot do the proper communication, or we are going to have the overhead will be present. So we have to write the additional codes that so that we can maintain the session. So continue the session. Other coloration when developing commercial application. Any commercial application will be performing three operations, that is capture, validate and storing. So what do you mean by capturing? You are capturing the data through the form, or form is what? Through the application. Data is captured, but that should be also validated. So here the data is validated at two levels. One is at the server side and at the client side. So at the client side, it is going to use the HTML code will be used. So using those things, it is going to be validated. Next one, it is validated at the server side. Using again the program code will be there. So using that, you are going to validate. If any invalid data is there, then you will generate the error message and it will be sent to the web browser. And again, that captured data, since it is wrong data or since it is invalid data, the captured data will be discarded. But if it is valid data, then it will be stored in database management system. So you are going to have three operation: capture, validate and store. Capture, you are capturing the data. Validate, it can be done in two methods or two ways. One is at the client side and another one is at the server side using the HTML codes. If any invalid data is there, error message is returned to the web browser, and since it is invalid data, the captured data will be discarded. But if the data is valid, then it is stored in the database management system. So this is the architecture. Client is there. Client is going to connect to the web browser using the internet. So here database system or database server, it can be mounted on the same server where the web browser is present, or it can be mounted on the separate server. So you can have the application server separate and the database server separate. But communication should be maintained, even if whether the database server is or database system is mounted on the same server, or whether the database system is mounted on the different server, the communication is maintained properly. To maintain the communication, we will be using different modules are used and different packages are used, plugins are used. So communication between web browser and the DBMS. So as I already mentioned, you are going to use the different plugins on of the modules will be used. Thank you.